The first shot cracked through the desert air before anyone saw who pulled the trigger. Dust leapt off the wooden post outside the Silver Spur saloon, splinters flying like startled birds. The piano inside went silent mid-note. Whiskey glasses froze halfway to trembling lips. And out there in the white blaze of the afternoon sun, two figures stood 10 paces apart, the whole town holding its breath between them. Now listen close, because this ain't just a story about a bullet, it's about a look. It started 3 days earlier, when the stranger rode into Red Hollow with the sun at his back and trouble in his shadow. He called himself Cole Mercer. Tall in the saddle, hat brim low, coat the color of storm clouds rolling over prairie land. Folks in Red Hollow knew the type. Quiet gunslinger, the kind who don't smile much and never laughs. The kind who watches. And he was watching her. Her name was Maeve Callahan. She wasn't no saloon girl fluttering lashes for coins. She ran the Silver Spur like a general runs an army. Auburn hair always pinned tight. Sleeves rolled to the elbow, eyes sharp as cut glass. When she walked across that wooden floor, boots striking steady, men moved out the way without being told. First night Cole stepped into her saloon, the room shifted. You ever feel a storm coming before the sky turns? That was him. He leaned on the bar, voice low. Whiskey. Maeve poured without looking up. That'll be 2 bits. Coin clinked. Silence stretched. But when she bent to fetch a fresh bottle from beneath the counter, she felt it. That stare. Slow, heavy, like a hand where it didn't belong. She straightened, eyes flashing up to meet his. And there he was, unblinking, jaw tight, gaze fixed, like he was measuring something that weren't his to measure. Cowboy, she said, cool as creek water. Every time I reach for something, I feel them eyes of yours burning holes straight through me. A few heads turned. Cards paused mid-shuffle. Cole didn't flinch, didn't grin, just tipped his hat back enough to show those steel-gray eyes. You best not even try, she added, voice edged in warning. And that should have been the end of it. But some lines, once crossed, don't fade easy. Now here's where things twist. Because Cole Mercer wasn't staring out of hunger. He was staring out of history. See, 5 years back, before Red Hollow even had a name on a map, a ranch burned to the ground north of here. Fire so hot it turned fences to smoke and hope to ash. Only 2 survived that night, Maeve Callahan, and the man who set the blaze. Maeve never spoke of it. Folks knew better than to ask. But Cole knew, because the man who lit that fire was his brother. You feel that shift? That's where this story tightens its grip. Cole hadn't ridden into town for whiskey. He'd come for truth, for the rumor he'd heard in a border town that a Callahan girl lived still, running a saloon under a different sky. He needed to know what really happened that night. Needed to know if his brother died a villain, or if there was more to the smoke. But Cole Mercer didn't know how to ask gentle, so he watched. And Maeve mistook it for something else. Second night, same stare. Third night, worse. By then, whispers were crawling through Red Hollow like ants on sugar. Mercer's got his eyes on her. Callahan ain't one to be trifled with. Blood's gonna spill, and blood always finds a way. That third afternoon, Maeve stepped out back to stack crates of dry goods. Sun high, heat pressing down like judgment. She heard boots behind her. You planning to keep staring, or you got words to go with it? She said without turning. Cole stopped a yard away. I got questions. Then ask 'em proper. Silence. Wind brushing tumbleweeds past the fence. My brother, he said finally. Jonah Mercer. You knew him. Maeve went still. Slowly she turned. And for the first time, that fire in her eyes flickered into something deeper, older. Jonah Mercer, she repeated like the name tasted bitter. He died in that fire, Cole said, but not before folks said he'd set it. He did. No hesitation. Cole's jaw hardened. That ain't what I heard. Maeve stepped closer, close enough he could see the scar along her collarbone, pale and cruel as memory. You weren't there, she said, voice low. He came with men. Wanted the land. My pa refused. Jonah lit the barn first. Thought fear would make us bend. Wind rose. He didn't mean to kill, Cole started. He meant to scare, she cut in. But fire don't scare. It devours. You could feel the past hanging between them like smoke that never cleared. Cole swallowed. You shot him? Maeve's gaze didn't waver. I did. Now tell me, what would you do standing there? Draw or listen? Cole's hand hovered near his holster, not from anger but from habit, from a lifetime of answering pain with steel. You look at me like I'm him, she said quietly. Like you're weighing revenge. I look at you, Cole replied, like I'm trying to see if my brother deserved the bullet. Maeve's chin lifted. He did. That was the moment the line truly split. And that's what led us back to the first gunshot. Because someone else had been listening. Sheriff Hal Grady, a man who preferred order to truth and silence to justice. Jonah Mercer had once paid him good money to look the other way. If Cole found out the whole of it, if he learned the sheriff helped drive the Callahans off their land, Grady's badge wouldn't mean much. So the sheriff did what cowards with power always do. He aimed first. That shot that cracked through the afternoon. It wasn't Cole, it wasn't Maeve. It was Grady from the balcony across the street. Bullet meant for Cole, but Cole moved fast, shoved Maeve aside, drew in one clean motion. His shot shattered the balcony rail. Grady staggered back. Town exploded into chaos. Men diving for cover, horses screaming, dust kicking up thick as fog. Cole grabbed Maeve's wrist. Inside! They burst into the saloon as another shot splintered the doorframe. Why'd you push me? She demanded, breath sharp. Because this ain't your fight. She cocked a rifle from beneath the bar. Everything in this town's my fight. There it is, that fire again. Grady's voice rang from outside. Cole Mercer! Throw down that iron! Cole glanced at Maeve. You trust me? She hesitated. That single heartbeat stretched long as a drought. Then she nodded once. They stepped out together. Dust swirled. Sun dipped low, turning everything gold and blood-colored. Grady stood at the far end, rifle aimed, face slick with sweat. You dig too deep, Mercer, he spat. Some graves best stay shut. You should have let the past burn clean, Cole replied. Maeve stepped forward. You took money to drive my family out. Grady sneered. Business. Cole's eyes shifted. That true? Maeve's voice didn't shake. Ask him. And here's where fate chooses sides. Grady fired. But he aimed wrong. He aimed at Maeve. Cole didn't think. Didn't weigh blood or history. He moved. Shot rang out from his Colt. Sheriff Hal Grady dropped before his bullet found its mark. Silence fell heavy as judgment. Smoke curled from Cole's gun. His chest rose slow. Maeve stared at Grady's body, then at Cole. You didn't have to, she said. Yeah, he answered quietly. I did. Because sometimes crossing a line ain't about desire. It's about choosing who you ain't gonna be. The townsfolk emerged cautious-like. No one mourned Grady. Truth has a way of clearing dust. Later that night, the silver spur filled again, but different. Lighter somehow. Cole stood by the door, saddlebag slung over his shoulder. You leaving? Maeve asked. Reckon my business here's done? She studied him. Not with anger now, not with suspicion. With your brother? She asked. Cole nodded once. He made his choice. Today I made mine. Wind stirred her hair loose from its pins. You still stare too much, she said softly. A faint smile ghosted his mouth. Maybe. He tipped his hat. Then paused. Maeve, that look I gave you, it weren't hunger. No, it was wonder, he said. At someone who survived the fire and built something from ash. For the first time she didn't look away. Safe travels, cowboy. He stepped into the night, boots fading into desert hush. And Red Hollow kept standing. Now remember this. Every legend folks tell about gunfights and dust storms. They talk about who shot first. But the truth, it's usually about who chose different. And that's how the cowboy's gaze crossed the line and found redemption on the other side. The end.